The inception for Night Run started with, I wanted to make a really small minimalistic game that just kind of captured a mood. Shit started hitting down for it. I was like, what the? Hi, I'm Matto. I'm working on Night Run, which is a conceptual art project that brings together video games, imaginary AI-powered fashion houses, and delivers it through the medium of an NFT project. Night Run is a project that I'm building together with my team here at Thousand Ant in Brooklyn, New York. We're a small studio that works between NFTs, lately experimenting in AI and AI art, and with a background making games in Unity as well. The idea of the city is that it's long after humans have vanished and we have these AI living in the city and controlling the city, and that every night the city gets regenerated and rebuilt from scratch. As you kind of drive through the city, you see that it's all not quite normal, right? Like the buildings are kind of in strange configurations and things are kind of floating over the highway, and it's all a little bit kind of strange. And the idea is that these AI have been like building this city for so long, and they've been alone for so long that they've gotten stranger and stranger over the years. And that kind of connects into the story world of the piece, which ties in with the NFTs, which is that the four AI that are in the city, I call them the four sisters, and they are kind of like descended from these luxury fashion houses. They were kind of AI that were kind of managing and controlling luxury fashion houses, and started off as fashion AI, but now years and years have gone by and they've just kind of gotten stranger and more corrupted. The imagery in the piece is all generated through this stable diffusion text-to-image AI, which was the first time I've been working with like AI image generation for a little while, since it's kind of started to become available, but with Stable Diffusion was the first time you could really make stuff that felt photographic, even if it is kind of cursed and melted and stuff, strange things turning into other things, but it gives you this ability to do photographic texture. You know, I feel like we just have not even scratched the surface on what's possible with all this stuff yet. You really get the feeling working with it that the limit is your imagination, not the technology, you know. Yeah, so these are some of the images from Iris, which is the kind of spring-themed collection. It's the house in the project that leans the most into this blurring between representational and abstract imagery using the AI image generation, where the AI has this tendency to just hallucinate things. If it doesn't know what it's making, it kind of just creates these things that look like it could be something, but actually isn't, right? And so this was kind of pushing into that. Also, this is probably, of the four houses in the collection, this is the one that uses the most traditional algorithmic generative art techniques. So this has a bunch of P5.js stuff where I'm taking the photos in, extracting color palettes from the photos, and then like generating line art. And then obviously some more traditional representative images in there that look like people and that look like more like real photographs, but kind of blending back and forth across that border of like abstract and representational. Is some of the imagery from Urea, which is the winter house. And this is probably the most restrained of the four, right? It's calmer, it's got this kind of monastic feeling to it, and actually really direct influence for this. There's a young Chinese fashion designer named Dingyun Zhang who makes these like amazing mutated puffer jackets, huge puffer jackets. You know, growing up in New York where you have like crazy winters, I've always had these huge, you know, sleeping bag puffer jackets, and there's something really sensual about it. And so I wanted to explore that here. And the AI, it's got tons and tons of photos of puffer jackets to go off of. So it creates all these great details, multiple zippers, crazy kind of folds, and it's super fun to play with. Because we're kind of working in the NFT space, there's this interesting participatory community dynamic where people want to be a part of the process and want to be a part of the creative process, which I think is one of the cool, non-technical unlocks of the NFT space. Like the NFT space creates this kind of like collective effervescence, this like feeling of shared ownership and this desire for people to kind of be together and do things together. And so the way I wanted to kind of play with that was to give people a choice to curate little sections of the experience, which are then reflected out to all of the players, right? So there's a much smaller group of people who collect the NFTs, and they can make choices about what artworks appear in the city and make kind of interesting juxtapositions and connections there, little kind of curatorial gestures for the NFT collectors, along with being able to choose the music and also some kind of color details about the way the city is generated. In video game terms, it's a one-hit death, right? So you crash once and that's it. And that's kind of what creates a little bit of the sense of stakes, right? And because the city is generated, you get further in, you may not see that again if you get reset or, I mean, somebody, Lord of a Few, who's another like game NFT person working on Loot Realms, he was like, oh, so it's a driving and listening to techno simulator. And I was like, yes, that's what it is. Like, nailed it. It's amazing to drive and listen to techno. It's like a good description. Importantly, one of the experiments with this is trying to create something that creates a positive relationship between the NFT collecting public and the video game playing public, because up until now, actually, the relationship between the kind of NFT world and the video game world has been pretty bad, and there hasn't been a lot of projects that have created great outcomes for video game players. And the idea here is that because we're kind of financing the production of the project, even though it's a smaller in the scale of the video game world, right? It's a small project, but because we're financing it through the token sale and we're then able to give the game away completely for free, I'm hoping that that will create a win-win or kind of positive sum interaction with game players where they're like, oh, this is this cool art game, and I'm able to play it for free because it has this connection to the NFT world, but I don't need to buy anything or do anything or have a wallet or even understand any of it to just be able to experience this world and see this artwork and play a game that hopefully they can enjoy.